You may have volunteered at your local animal shelter or donated to an animal welfare organization. You would also know about the importance of medical care in their lives. Unfortunately, there are several issues in the United States that hinder a person's access to such things. Poverty is one of them, but there are also other problems that are not as universal nor well known. An act passed by the Congress in 2017 prohibited the regular use of antibiotics in livestock. Pets build an important foundation in our lives, and we should be able to return the favor by providing proper medical care. As we all know, illness is inevitable, but once that disease does strike, have you tried to find a medicine or seek a veterinarian to cure it? Nowadays, it's fairly difficult to get an over-the-counter medicine for your pet in need. The best option will be taking your sick pet to the vet, which usually costs at least $50 or up. It seems quite expensive for a trip to the vet only to get a prescription for an antibiotic. And sometimes, you're paying a large amount of money to get medicine that's commonly found in a drugstore or somewhere else. Small animals are quite different from a dog or cat. Generally, because of their size and perhaps lack of ability to interact as much with humans compared to an animal with a higher order of thinking, they do not have nearly as much sentimental value to us to make it seem practical to spend tens of hundreds of dollars on them, especially when their lifespans revolve around 2 to 5 years. It is also overall harder to find a vet to treat a small animal because exotic vets treat them, and generally the cost will be higher than treating a common animal. Many small pets are owned by children who cannot drive, pay, or have a credit card. They will have to ask their guardian or parent to pay for them. Sometimes, if the parent or guardian doesn't have a strong connection to the pet, the help the small pet needs is not provided for, which ends up as the pet suffering. Also, kids may not be allowed to take their pet to the clinic by themselves without a guardian because of their age. And other times, parents may view it as an unnecessary hassle to bring such a small, cheap pet to the veterinarian because they think it's not worth the cost. Unfortunately, many people think small animals like hamsters or mice are replaceable because of their cost, even when they have sentimental value to their children. Now we're going to tackle a large topic, poverty. As one of the leading issues in America, a survey conducted in December 2020 showed that 13.7% of households in the U.S. is below the poverty threshold, which is approximately 1 in 7 Americans. Oftentimes, a family in poverty cannot afford to sustain a healthy pet by taking it to the vet. This poses a danger to the animal's health because of the lack of medical care. There are over-the-counter medicines for cats and dogs, but most people are recommended getting a prescription for the most accurate dosage for their pets. Many people who are in poverty work hard to take care of their pets, but sometimes they're forced to surrender their companion, which leads to millions of dogs and cats thrown into shelters every year, of which some are euthanized. Poverty also completely rules out proper veterinary care for many people. Just as households in poverty are unable to access proper prescriptions, they also struggle to afford devices or the internet that can connect them to information and veterinary clinics. Although there are free veterinary care services that aid the financial support of some people, not all places in the United States have the service, and not all people in poverty qualify. This includes people who are just above the poverty line and would be forced to surrender their beloved pet. Like other issues related to poverty, there is a trend in areas with low income and lack of medical clinics. This makes it harder for people who want to own a pet or have already owned one to sustain the medical aspect of their pets. And as the trend goes, when there's less of something, the higher price the buyer will have to pay for an antibiotic or a vet appointment. Another circumstance of how poverty can affect a pet's life is when they need a surgery or physical examination of some sort, but the owner cannot afford it, and their pet will have to live the rest of their lives going untreated, which can cause suffering. Not only does the animal suffer the consequences, but it can also take a mental toll on the owner, who may feel stressed knowing they cannot do much to help their companion. Everyone should be able to afford an animal companion, whether they're a dog, cat, or a dwarf hamster. You may have heard of strange or exotic pets, but a commonly found animal, a chicken, are more common as pets than you think. These are livestock that aren't actually livestock. According to the H.R. 1587 Preservation of Antibiotics for Medical Treatment Act of 2017, all uses of antibiotics in food-producing animals have the potential to cause antibiotic-resistant bacterial infections in humans, also known as superbugs. A superbug refers to a germ that has developed a resistance to antibiotics or a medicine. The purpose of the Act is to sustain the effectiveness of antibiotics for people. Although they are still permitted to use antibiotics in livestock, they are required to get a prescription. This makes it difficult for everyday people to buy antibiotics online for chickens who are categorized under livestock. They cannot get the medicine they need because medications for livestock are prohibited in California. You also cannot find antibiotics for chickens in regular pet stores. Basic medication brands such as Valbazin and Safeguard were open to delivery in California, but they are now prohibited from over-the-counter use. Although the welfare of both chickens and humans is important, this makes it hard to sustain healthy pet chickens in a regular household because commonly used antibiotics are more of a hassle to get. As more people start to have backyard chickens, there will be more sicknesses and a higher demand for antibiotics. Only a selection of chicken owners even know about antibiotics for chickens, but for those who do, it has made it harder to supply their pet with the care they deserve. Some may say it's a small price to pay to keep your pet healthy, but not everyone has the same mindset. It's important to keep clear that there are, in fact, over-the-counter medicines sold in pet stores, but sometimes they do not offer them to a large range of animals, or they do not offer the medication your pet needs. Commonly used antibiotics such as amoxicillin are prescription only, meaning you have to spend extra money getting it prescribed. More often, the medication is unreliable and has little effect. Some solutions can include lowering the general cost of prescriptions in veterinary clinics or offering paying alternatives in more areas. It would be helpful to open up livestock antibiotics for people who do not own more than a certain number of the specified livestock. We can all help raise awareness about people struggling to keep their pets healthy and about the little-known information of pets fallen under the category of livestock. At the very end, it comes down to how much we value our pets as a whole. Many pets are waiting for your voice to advocate and raise awareness for their medical care. Every voice counts.